So, with that being said, I want to introduce our guest here today. And I had the pleasure of meeting Tim Tabilos. Am I saying that right?
Tolosa.
Tolosa, I'm sorry. I don't have my paper here in front of me.
That's my fault.
But nonetheless, I want to welcome you. I had the pleasure of meeting Tim about a month ago. He was one of our guest speakers at our Bridging the Gap meeting that we have once a month. And the meeting that we had, I want to thank Daily Bread Ministries because they hosted our last meeting for 2019, their Daily Bread Ministries, which if you have not gone by there, this is a new facility. You need to go by. This facility is just phenomenal. I was blown away because it's so professional, so clean. They distribute food, okay? So if you're in need of food, you want to go ahead and call Daily Bread Ministries. But we were able to hold our meeting. Like I said, he was a guest there. And he brought some good information that I was not aware of. And this is what we, Bridging the Gap, want to do. We want to share this information with our listeners because I believe it's very impactful. It can change lives and transform lives. And, you know, if you want that, something for New Year, something you want to be able to say, you know, I need to make some changes, this is something that you definitely would like to get more information on. Transformation through the finances, I think, is powerful. Tim, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Sil.
Say hello to the listeners out there.
Well, good morning or good afternoon or good evening, depending on what time this is airing. But we are so glad to be here with you to be able to share some of the things that God is doing through STCH Ministries here in the San Antonio region. And we also have ministry foundations in the Corpus Christi area, Houston area, Beeville, Texas area, and Victoria. So we are very excited about God and how He is expanding the opportunities for STCH Ministries.
Right. And that's STCH Ministries. It's STCH, okay? Not stitch like you would probably think like something that you sew, right?
That's right.
Yeah, when I heard what you did and what you all do, it was just phenomenal because there's so much that is happening. And like I said, this information needs to get out to people. They need to listen and to really utilize this to their benefit because a lot of people are dealing a lot of times a lot of the big problems are because of financial problems. And this is something that you're bringing that will help them to be able to be better equipped with their finances, of course. I also want to introduce some of our guests here that are with us today. Can you please share with the audience who you are, please?
Hi, my name is Blanca Eschbach. I'm the site coordinator for our Life Skills ministry through STCH.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Antongiorgi, and I'm the regional director for our family counseling office here in San Antonio.
Okay. Welcome. Thank you for being here today on Bridging the Gap Radio. Tim, please share with us, let the listeners know what you guys are about, what you're doing, and the things that they need to know about.
Well, I guess first of all, just understand that we are a faith-based nonprofit organization that specializes in caring for families and children and trying to help, like you were mentioning earlier, provide tools and resources that make people's lives better, give them more opportunities. We work with all kinds of different organizations and individuals. They come to us from private leads and state leads. It's just amazing how God has worked to provide STCH with opportunities that would normally seem unreachable by a faith-based organization.
Right.
But yet God has opened those doors because He has a purpose, and He's allowing us to go into some of these even state-run organizations and be able to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with individuals that we normally wouldn't have been able to reach. just to give you an example of some of the different ministries that STCH Ministries is involved with, we do different types of residential care, such as homes for children. We also do homes for families. So it's not just an orphanage type thing like most people think of Annie. You think of an orphanage, a big barracks with a bunch of bunk beds all lined up against the wall, and everybody's in there. But everything that STCH does in the way of taking care of children is really family based. It's a home type environment that allows children to live a normalized life and be able to experience having house parents there in the home that love them and care for them. The whole program is mind-blowing when you hear about all that is done for these children, not only to care for them while they are underage, but one of the deficits and the deficiencies of the foster care system, the orphan system, is that there's nothing for these children when they turn 18 years of age. What do they do now? Suddenly they're no longer eligible to be cared for in these situations. And STCH Ministries doesn't just abandon these children. We help them. So if they are still under our care when they graduate from high school, then we try to provide them with the opportunity to go to a college or a higher learning institutions so that they can get continued training, and it's all paid for by STCH Ministries and those donors that contribute to STCH. So we're so excited about the fact that these young people who are now getting prepared to go out into the world aren't going out there unprepared, not really knowing where they're going to be able to go or where they're going to live.
And I think that's the big problem with when they age out, because I know we've had some people here that share that once they turn 18, that's it. It's like they push you outside the walls and you figure it out.
Right.
And so that's where I think they start to fall, because a lot of them start to live on the streets.
Absolutely.
Or get into drugs or get into gangs, whatever the case may be. But that's a big problem, because it's like, okay, we got you this far, now you're on your own and you figure it out.
And Sal, that's one of the things that I really like about STCH Ministries, is that it's all about equipping people. And as I go through some of the different ministry opportunities and things that we're able to share with others, you'll see that equipping individuals is the key to STCH Ministries. For example, if we take a young person that is now going to college, even little details like, okay, it's Thanksgiving time. They're a freshman in college. They're attending college. Everything's going good. They're doing well in their classes, but everyone's going home for Thanksgiving. Well,
what do I do?
Where does this individual go?
Right.
And so STCH Ministries even they built a home on the campus there in Beeville that these college students can have their own room and come back there and be able to call that their home for the holidays. And just caring about people to the extent that we don't just say, yeah, okay, well, here's this, we've accomplished this in your life, you graduated from this course, you completed your counseling, there you go, you're on your own now. We want to make sure that we care for people continually. Another thing that we do that's amazing is we have homes for families, because the world knows that there's a lot of abuse out there. And sometimes we have individuals that need shelter for these ladies and their children. And so we provide homes for families that gives them very protective, safe environment where they can not only be sheltered, but once again, be equipped. So we help them through a recovery process, which involves counseling. We help them through an equipping process, which involves getting to get the life skills that they need in order to be able to be successful in the world. We help them with job placement, and then even to the point of residential placement, and helping them get their own apartments eventually. So getting people back on their feet so that they can actually be a fully contributing member of our society and have had many of their spiritual needs met at the same time.
Right. And that's what I keyed up on when you say you're equipping, and I believe that when you equip an individual or someone to do more than what they think they're capable of doing. You're enabling them to do more than what they thought they could.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it over
Sure.
to Doseli for counseling, because counseling is another area, and she has been doing it a lot longer than
And that's what I
have, so.
like about Stitch, because when you were sharing these things, that it's not just one thing. You're doing a lot of things
Yes,
across
sir.
the board.
There's actually 9 active ministry arms right
Yeah.
now that are taking place, and several of them are really active right here in San Antonio.
Right, absolutely.
Well, thanks, Tim. So my opportunity with Stitch Ministries is to serve in the family counseling area, and I've been with Stitch for just a little over 4 years now, and very excited about what we're doing. Our family counseling is preventative in nature, in that we are partnered with another organization in town called Unicity, and together we train facilitators to teach a parenting class, an evidence-based parenting class, which really focuses on the parents. Children function as a part of a system, and if we're not affecting the head of that system, then we're not making a whole lot of change with kids in our office. And so we are able to offer that training free of charge to the community. So really anyone who wants to come out and learn how to teach this class can come to our training. So that is one of the branches of service that we have in our family counseling. In addition to that, we have 3 counselors, myself included, that meet with clients on a weekly basis, and sometimes every other week, depending on how the client is doing. But our job is to support them with the issues that they come to the table with. We have a lot of families that have issues with children, behavioral issues. We have families that come to us with concerns about divorce, separation of family. We have a lot of families that come to us with teenagers and children who are anxious and are dealing with depression at a very young age. And so our work is to try to help the families understand what is happening with their kids and how to communicate effectively so that they have a good relationship together. I've always said that my job as a counselor is to work myself out of a job. You shouldn't have to come see me for the rest of your life. And so my job is to put coping skills in their hands so that when they leave our office, they have the ability to deal with the challenges that life brings their way. Occasionally, people need to come back, and we always invite people to come back to see us. But our goal is to make sure that they have abilities and skills that they can cope with. Because
to be
life,
able to function in life.
Right, absolutely. So we offer play therapy. So we see kids as young as 4 and 5 years old, and we see them all the way up to
Wow. You wouldn't. I wouldn't think at 4 or 5 you would be looking at that, but I think especially the way society is now.
Yeah. Well, and you have to think about the fact that we have babies that are born that are drug babies,
Right.
that already have that the odds
Dependency.
stacked against them. But we also know that if they have the right kind of support and the right kind of people living in their lives, they have the ability to cope well, and not just survive, but thrive in a family relationship and in a community. And so that is where our heart is, in helping families stay together. So we help kids as young as 4 and 5 years old, but we also work with adolescents. We work with young adults, families, couples, and individuals. We do offer, we have one bilingual therapist. That would be me. So I stay pretty busy.
I can imagine.
And that's the kind of thing that I like to do, is to be able to help people. And someone at some point helped me, and I get to turn around and do that for someone else. Right. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for what you do. I know I'm not a counselor, but I know sometimes being here at church, we have a lot of people that walk in and they're dealing with so many things. Personally, I like working with the youth, so I understand a little bit about what they're dealing with and what they're going through, and it hurts you because you wish, I just wish I could just reach in them and pull everything out.
Sure.
and just fill them up with love and then send them on their way. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. That, like you said, there's an effort that has to be put in there. And it's about that. I believe, like I said, the word here for me is equipping, being able to help them to not just, like you said, just to live, but to thrive, because that's a whole other level that some people don't ever reach. They're kind of living, but they're not really thriving, and everything,
just existing,
right? And equipping them with everything like what you offer. I think it's even more that they're going to thrive even more than what they probably would ever imagine as well. But thank you for what you do.
Well, Sal, you mentioned, you said, wow, you wouldn't think that 4 and 5-year-olds would really need that society's really gone downhill, and you're exactly right. I mean, I don't think anybody would argue that society's taken a negative turn over the last few decades, and there are some definite challenges now that maybe didn't exist 20, 30 years ago. But I also believe that in many realms, in many ways, that maybe the need was there before and we just weren't aware of it, and we weren't really addressing it.
Right.
And so God has opened up opportunities and insight for Stitch Ministries to be able to identify the need, and then He's provided the resources for us to be able to put people in place like DeSelly that will actually be able to come alongside these people and help in their time of need. But one of the other things, I love the fact you mentioned that you're interested in youth, and is that we also offer life skills training.
Right.
And that's really the area that I specialize in. I'm the director of life skills training, which involves faith and work and faith and finances courses that we offer here in the San Antonio area. In fact, I think this semester we have 7 different locations that we're going to be ministering through those courses.
Right.
And I'm gonna let Blanca talk a little bit about the faith and work and the faith and finances.
All right. Well, thank you, Tim. Faith and Work is a very unique ministry that we get to be a part of. It's where we help, we guide people to discover God's purpose for their lives, and how to fulfill that purpose through their work. So we talk a lot about identity. That's our first unit. It's where it all starts. Where do we find ourselves? Where do we find our purpose? What is our why? Why are we here?
Exactly.
And I mean, that unit could really go on for weeks, but we don't. So we also cover other things like personality assessments, getting to know ourselves well, so that we know what can sometimes trigger us to be in a bad mood or react a certain way when our coworkers or our bosses challenge us. That's important, which leads to conflict resolution. We've had several sessions on that. How can we best address these conflicts? What does the Bible say about addressing these issues in order to live a better life?
Right.
So that's huge. And with youth too, who are not necessarily taught these skills in a school setting, we've discovered that it's a huge need. And we're excited that we'll get to work with a couple of youth groups this semester, and more to come. But we also address very practical things like building a resume, how to interview. We've had the opportunity to partner with a couple of people who are experts in that area, and we bring them in because we know that we're not the end all, but we like to partner with people who know more than we do.
Right. And I think that's good, because we can only do so much, but when we have this is what Bridging the Gap is about. The 300 different partnerships that we have, everybody's, equipped to do something here. Well, we may not be able to do something here when people walk in, well, I need this. And I said, okay, we don't specifically do that, but here, let me kind of guide you to someone that can help you with that. And so I think with these partnerships, like what you're saying, you become more powerful because you have these things that are available to the people. And that's a great thing that you're able to do as well.
Yeah, I mean, we love it. We have a lot of fun with it. did you want to?
Well, I was just thinking about a specific example of how God opened up opportunities for us to work with those that were outside of Stitch Ministries. We partner with different organizations. We, depending on which course we're teaching, it might be bank or financial institutions or employers. But one of the experiences that we had just this past semester with San Antonio Housing Authority invited us to come in as a faith-based organization and be able to partner with them in helping them, their residents, to accomplish certain milestones that they had to accomplish in order to maintain their benefits that they were enjoying. And so one of those accomplishments was that they had to somehow complete a course that involved interviewing and resume skills and perfecting those skills. And so that went right along with our Faith and Work course. So Blanca went ahead and set up the class, and we were able to go in there, and we had 5 faithful students that were there for the entire semester. But in that process, and it was really interesting because the gentleman that I'm going to be talking about, he really hadn't signed up for the class at the beginning, but his wife, I'll use this word, drug him along,
encouraged him,
and brought him to the class. And he sat right next to me, and we just kind of hit it off. And so we started talking back and forth, and found out we were both ex-military, and that we really had some very similar skill sets as well. And so as Jimmy kept coming back to the course, we eventually got to the point where we were working on his resume, and he shared with us that he had not been able to get a job. He'd been trying to get a job for over a year and a half, but because of a mistake he had made prior in his life, and he had actually had a felony on his record there, which we later found out really shouldn't have been there anyway, but it was. Right. And so in reality, he had this roadblock that wouldn't allow him to be able to get in front of an employer for an interview. I really think that if he'd have got in front of an employer, he would have been hired. Right. He was a great guy. He had a great personality. He was dedicated. He had some wonderful skill set. And so Blanca contacted one of her former employers, who now had a business that was just down the road from where we were holding these classes. And she was able to request that we get a second chance interview for him. And so through a process over, about 6 weeks, we were able to meet with the HR director, secure him an interview with her. She interviewed him. She liked him. She recommended him up the chain to the hiring manager. And long story short, Jimmy's now employed with a great employer. He has full benefits. He's making a good income. His head is held high. He feels accomplished, and he's striving in his life to move spiritually back to where he had been years ago, which was in a right relationship with Jesus Christ. Right. So it's mind, body, soul, spirit, addressing all of the needs of these individuals, and God opens doors. There's no way in the world that we're not in the employment placement business, but God opens these doors as He sees the need and allows us to step into those roles. Right,
and that's what I love about Stitch. It's just not here. Let me just give you this, but it's more of let me see what else I can do for you. Before I'm looking at my time here. We're almost up. Where can they reach you if they want more information about everything that you just talked about? Who can they contact, or where can they reach out to get more information about this?
Well, they can always go to our website, which is STCHM.org. And they can go up underneath whichever ministry that they're looking for. There are points of contacts, so they can reach the right office. Another thing, as far as our life skills training, they can feel free to call my number. It's area code 210-668-8083. And talk to me, and I'll be glad to give them more information about our life skills trainings offerings here in San Antonio. And DeCelia, I think you have a number for counseling.
We have a local number for family counseling that is 210-339-7576. And we also have an 800 number that is 833-83-STCHM. And that is 833-837-8246.
Okay. Do you have any information that you want, or are they tied into what he just said.
Blanca and I work hand in hand together, mostly in the life skills
So
training.
you don't want to miss out on this. This is an opportunity. I mean, sometimes people are praying for a breakthrough, and God just all of a sudden, here it is. Now it's your turn to act on what was shared here today. It's not going to get done for you. You're going to have to put some effort and do something and move and say, yeah, I know where I'm at right now, but God wants bigger and better things for you. But sometimes we need to move. We can pray about things, but He will provide what they need for you to be able to have.
Real quick, Sal,
Sure.
just want to make sure that people are aware of the fact that we have faith in work, but we also have faith in finances classes that we offer here, and that's a big area. Leading cause of divorce is finances and issues in families. A lot of stress is caused. We've had organizations like YMCA invite us to come in and to help their people because they're addressing health issues. So we address that with them. But we have several locations around town that we're having classes this coming semester. Please call us if you're interested in attending either one of these classes. They start at various times over the next 30 days. So.
Okay. Well, you heard it here. If you want more information, go to our Facebook page and you'll get some of this information, or go to our YouTube channel as well. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today and sharing. This is Stitch Ministries. Don't miss out on it. Thank you, and God bless.
This has been a Power of God production. This program has been sponsored by Last Chance Ministries and KDRY Radio.